Your most dangerous trade is the one that makes you feel unstoppable. Not the losing trade, not the mistake, the best one. Because the moment you win big, something subtle breaks inside your mind. And most traders never even realize it happened. Here's the paradox no one warns you about in trading psychology. The trade that boosts your confidence is often the exact trade that sets you up to lose everything afterward. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why. Picture this. You execute a trade perfectly. Clean entry, perfect timing. Price explodes in your direction. Your P&L lights up green. It feels euphoric. Not just money validation. Your strategy works. Your analysis was right. You were right. And right there, a silent shift happens because the market just gave you a reward. And the human brain is wired to learn from rewards, sometimes in the worst possible way. Most traders think losing trades damage performance. They don't. Winning trades do, especially the best one. Here's why. After a big win, traders don't consciously say, "I'm about to sabotage myself." Instead, their internal narrative changes. They stop listening to the market and start expecting things from it. That's the moment psychology takes over. Let's slow this down. Before the big win, you were cautious. You respected risk. You followed rules because you had to. You were humble. But after that one trade, the rules suddenly feel optional. You tell yourself, "I see the market clearly now. I'm in sync. I've cracked it." That's not confidence. That's emotional momentum. And emotional momentum is deadly in trading psychology because markets don't reward momentum in the mind. They punish it. Here's the first hidden trap. The best trade creates a false baseline. Your brain takes that outcome and quietly labels it as normal. Not exceptional. Not lucky. Normal. So the next trade doesn't need to be as clean. The setup doesn't need to be as perfect. The risk doesn't feel as risky. Why? Because your mind is anchored to that high. And now, without realizing it, you're chasing a feeling, not executing a process. That's when discipline starts leaking. Small at first, barely noticeable, but it compounds. Micro cliffhanger. And that's not even the most dangerous part. Because the real damage happens after the confidence spike fades. After the best trade, traders unknowingly shift from execution mode to identity mode. Before, you were just following your system. Now, you're trying to prove something. You're no longer asking, "Is this my setup?" You're asking, "Can I do it again?" That single question changes everything. Because now each trade carries emotional weight. A win confirms the story you're telling yourself. A loss threatens it. And once your identity is on the line, objectivity disappears. This is classic trading psychology sabotage. Notice what happens next. You hesitate more. But you also force more trades. Contradictory. Yes, but common. You hesitate on the good setups because losing would hurt more now. And you force bad setups because you want to feel that win again. That push-pull destroys consistency. And consistency is the only edge most traders ever have. Here's a truth that sounds uncomfortable. The best traders are emotionally neutral after wins. The worst traders feel invincible. Why? Because neutrality preserves clarity. Invincibility destroys it. The market doesn't care how well you did yesterday, but your brain does. And your brain is terrible at risk assessment when dopamine is involved. But what really breaks traders isn't confidence. It's something much quieter. After a big win, traders stop managing risk and start managing outcomes. They watch P&L instead of price. They widen stops just this once. They hold losers longer because it'll come back. Why? Because after tasting a big win, losses feel unacceptable. Not financially, emotionally. And that's when small losses turn into big ones. Not because the setup was bad, but because the exit was compromised. Trading Psychology 101. Your edge doesn't disappear after a win. Your behavior does. Here's the irony. The best trade often happens when you're relaxed, detached, and focused on execution. Then that very wind destroys the detachment that created it. Success changes your emotional state, and trading performance is deeply state-dependent. Same strategy, same market, different psychology, different results, and now we arrive at the most dangerous moment of all. The moment when the trader doesn't realize they've changed, because externally, nothing looks wrong. You're still trading the same markets, same strategy, same charts. But internally, you're chasing confirmation, avoiding pain, protecting ego. And the market senses none of this, but it exploits it perfectly. The next loss feels personal. The next win feels necessary. The next trade feels heavier. That's when overtrading begins. That's when revenge trading sneaks in. That's when discipline collapses. Not after failure. After success. So if you've ever asked yourself, why did I start losing right after my best trade? Now you know. But here's the real question. How do elite traders prevent this from happening before it destroys their account? Because there is a way. And it has nothing to do with strategy. That's what we're breaking down next. If your best trade is a psychological trap, then the real edge isn't avoiding it. It's knowing exactly what to do after it. Because elite traders don't celebrate their best trades. They neutralize them. And this is where trading psychology separates professionals from everyone else. Here's the mistake most traders make next. They try to recreate the best trade. Same market, same aggression, same confidence. But elite traders do the opposite. They deliberately slow down, not because they're scared, but because they understand something critical. After a big win, your perception of risk is distorted. You feel safer than you actually are. And the market is most dangerous when you feel safe. Let's talk about what professionals really do after a great trade. They don't ask, how much more can I make? They ask, what state am I in right now? That question alone saves accounts. Because the goal isn't to trade more when you're confident. It's to trade correctly when your emotions are elevated. Trading psychology is about state management, not prediction. Here's rule 1 elite traders live by. No decision should feel urgent after a big win. Urgency is emotion in disguise. If you feel pressure to trade again, that's not opportunity. That's chemistry. Dopamine is loud. Discipline is quiet. And the traders who listen to the loud voice lose. But the real protection mechanism goes even deeper. Elite traders create psychological circuit breakers, rules that activate only after outsized wins. For example, reduced size for the next 3 trades. Mandatory break after a peak P&L day. No trades unless a setup is a plus clean Y. Because they don't trust themselves when they feel amazing. And that's wisdom. Most traders think discipline is about controlling fear. It's not. It's about controlling euphoria. Fear makes you hesitate. Euphoria makes you reckless. Both are expensive, but euphoria is sneakier. Here's another uncomfortable truth in trading psychology. Your worst decisions rarely happen when you're emotional in obvious ways. They happen when you feel sharp, focused, confident, certain. That's when you stop double-checking assumptions. That's when you interpret noise as confirmation. That's when losses sneak in quietly. So how do you trade without being hijacked by your own success? You shift your identity. Losing traders identify as people who win trades. Winning traders identify as people who follow processes. After a big win, amateurs protect the result. Professionals protect the routine. Because routines don't get emotional. People do. Elite traders anchor their confidence to behavior, not outcomes. They don't say, "I'm confident because I won." They say, "I'm confident because I executed correctly." Massive difference. Here's a simple test. After your best trade, ask yourself, if this next trade loses, will it change how I feel about myself? If the answer is yes, you're already compromised. Because now you're trading to protect identity, not capital. And identity-based trading always ends the same way. There's one final layer most traders never see. The market has a rhythm. And your best trade often happens when you're in sync with it accidentally. You didn't force it. You didn't chase it. You were patient. Then the win convinces you that you created the rhythm. You didn't. You aligned with it. Big difference. When traders confuse alignment with control, they start forcing trades. That's when timing collapses. The edge fades, not because the market changed, but because the trader did. Elite traders assume something most traders refuse to accept. The market will take back money if you get careless. Not as punishment, as probability. So they don't press after wins. They defend discipline. They let the emotional wave pass. They come back neutral. Because neutrality is where clarity lives. This is why the best traders often have boring equity curves. No massive spikes. No emotional fireworks. Just consistency. They understand that the goal isn't to feel great after a trade. The goal is to feel nothing. Final reveal. The reason most traders lose after their best trade isn't strategy failure. It's emotional mismanagement. They let success change who's making decisions. The moment ego replaces process, the edge is gone. The market doesn't reward confidence. It rewards clarity. And clarity only exists when emotion is under control. So the next time you have your best trade, don't celebrate. Don't rush. Don't chase. Pause. Reset your state. Shrink your size. Return to process. Because the real test of a trader isn't how they handle losses. It's how they handle success.